Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today is our chat with Marcus Coloma.
I think I have a new favorite.
It was a lot of fun. So I don't even know what to say beforehand, just because.
I think you just described it best a minute ago. It was like a fan spotlight with a cast member.
Right. So if you've listened to any of our cast chats before, I mean, we've talked about cats. We've talked about renewing driver's licenses. We've talked about traveling cross country during COVID.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about some crazy. We don't go in with the intention of talking about the show.
Right.
Maybe a little couple things, but then we move on to things. This just went where I was not expecting it to.
It was great.
It was. So we're not going to give too much away now, but we'll meet you back here so you can listen to us talk about our chat. Enjoy.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, thanks.
Thank you so much for, speaking with us today. I'm Shannon.
I'm Amanda.
Hi, Shannon and Amanda. Nice. Have we met before?
We met at the Pittsburgh Fantasy event.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys look so familiar. That's right. So
That's
Shannon
good.
and Amanda.
Yep.
Well, good to see you again.
You too. We had our shirts on and then we had like our podcast logo sign that you signed it
That's
to.
right. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I remember.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
And that's wonderful that, your number one fan was able to help us coordinate.
Yeah.
schedules and everything.
Really, she's amazing. And she's worked. I almost feel like we work together at this point because she's constantly doing these incredible videos and helping me out in so many ways. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So we were actually in your birthday video last year.
Oh, thank you so much. Where are you guys based, by the way?
We're in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
How's it in Pittsburgh right now? Is it snowing? Is it freezing?
I think today was the first day that is it snowing? Today's the first day that we have snow in the forecast for the year. Well,
Okay, nice.
season. So
That's fun. Yeah, it's sunny here, but it's cold, but I refuse to turn on the heater because I feel like turning on the heater in LA is ridiculous,
oh yeah,
I just got a jacket on.
there you go.
What's
Yeah.
cold? What temperature is it?
You guys are gonna kill me. Let's see. Let's see what the weather says. If I had to guess, I feel like it's 60. I was gonna say 60. I should have said it out loud, but I was like, it can't be. But so it's 60 degrees.
Okay.
We don't necessarily wear jackets.
It's so true. I was raised in the mountains, so I feel like I used to live that life, but you get soft after you've been here for too long,
We get used to it. I mean, and I think that it also depends on the type of year too, because, 60 degrees in April, but then 60 degrees in August are two totally different 60 degrees because 60
Yeah,
degrees
that's
in
great
August
point.
is cold.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's why it's cold in LA, because it's normally very warm out here.
Mhm.
But I really love the cold weather. I don't know if this classifies as cold, but I like that it's chillier at least. Yeah.
Yeah, like sweatshirt weather. That's the perfect
Weather
temperature.
weather.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you grew up in the mountains?
I grew up in the mountains. Yeah. I was born in Utah and, I was there till about 4 years old. I just remember a lot of snow and it was beautiful. And then I moved to Northern California and then, yeah, my backyard was like a national forest. It was beautiful. Cobb Mountain, which unfortunately I haven't been back to in probably 20 something years. And there was a massive forest fire that kind of wiped it out. So,
Oh,
yeah, it's definitely sad because it's gorgeous. I mean, that's what I love about California. It's kind of got everything, but
mhm.
I like Pittsburgh a lot too. I've obviously been there when we met, and then I went. A buddy got married. My really really good friend's from Pittsburgh, and I love the vibe out there. It's such a great place.
Do you know which side of Pittsburgh he's?
it's very like even when I met you guys, it's similar. It's always like you get off the plane,
Mm-hmm.
drive somewhere random, and you have no idea where you are.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you how far it was. No, I couldn't tell you anything about it. I feel like maybe downtown, is there like a
That's where you were for the, well, you were in Station Square for the event, but that's technically ish downtown.
okay.
We're on the east side. So if you went through 2 sets of tunnels from the airport, that's where we live. If you only went through one, then that's, we love tunnels.
Right. How many tunnels did you go through and how many bridges did you go over? And then we
Exactly.
can figure it out.
Couldn't even tell you. Okay, so when I went to downtown, did I go through any tunnels?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. So see, there you
I've
go.
gone around the Fort Pit.
No.
Yeah, you can go around the Fort Pit
know
to
you
get to the
can,
south
but-
side. No,
but
but
no
to
one
get to
does.
Station Square, you can.
I'm
That's the
trying
back
to think to be like, yeah, I couldn't tell you. I literally couldn't tell you. Those events also are bananas because you're catching a 10:30 flight at
Mhm.
night. And then if you can sleep on a plane, great. But if you can't, which I don't really, then
Yeah.
you kind of get off the plane, go to an event. I love them so much. They're so much fun. But they're a whirlwind. Like I don't know which way is up by the time I get home, you know?
Yeah. How many do you typically do in a weekend?
How many events?
Mm-hmm.
We usually do 2, but it's usually so like the last one I did, it was in Long Island, and then we hopped on a plane and then flew to Andover or Boston Andover. Again, I couldn't tell you how we got there. You get there super late and you haven't had any sleep, and you're kind of talking with everybody, you're having good conversations. It's just not. Yeah, my dad would kill me because my dad, for the record, trained me really well to always be aware of the roads that I'm on and just in case I have to drive. But these events, I get a little bit sloppy.
So I had a situation a couple weeks ago where I didn't have text messages for 5 days. People were receiving mine, but I was not receiving theirs. So I had to get my phone looked at. I think I was there every single day. One day they asked me, can you just drop it off for a few hours? Well, I'm a realtor. And I'm like, okay, I need to make sure because I actually have to use my phone to unlock doors. But I'm like, I need to know where the heck I'm going because I don't have my GPS.
Oh my gosh, without GPS, yeah, it's a good point.
But I mean, that's how I grew up was with MapQuest. You know, if I didn't know where to go, you MapQuested it and you had papers beside you. But
Oh yeah, we had this. We had the old Thomas Guide, the Thomas Guide. Did you guys have that? It's like a book.
Mhm. Yep.
But I totally remember that going on auditions and you're like flipping through trying to find, which was kind of fun. I always felt like it was a treasure hunt a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Now it's so easy because it just tells you every way to go. But yeah, I missed Thomas Guide and globes and maps and the analog days.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it was actually really, really nice. And after 5 days, nothing came through that I missed.
Wow, that's
So
great.
I was like, all right, it was not that important.
There you go.
I was
How
emailing
is
a
real
lot.
estate in Pittsburgh right now? Is it are you guys booming? Is it slow?
So Pittsburgh's kind of weird. We don't necessarily follow national averages. So even when things were crazy overpriced, we were catching up to, we're actually voted the most affordable city in the world.
Wow, that's great.
So our prices have increased, but now they're coming down a little bit, but they're not going to go back to what they were before because it's like we finally just played catch up.
Wow, interesting.
So, yeah,
Yeah, LA is crazy.
it's insane there.
It's insane. Yeah.
I have a friend who was in the process of buying her townhouse. She lives in LA. And when they first started talking about buying it to when they actually bought it, the numbers are very, very, very different.
Wow. She had to pay a lot more than when they
Uh-huh.
first. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's intense.
Like at least multiple 5 digits more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Sorry. So we just kind of wind up talking about anything.
Whatever you
We
guys want.
you want to ask something?
Yeah, we kind of just want to know more about you and your life, and we'll ask some questions about General Hospital, but it's not just all about General Hospital. We like to know the actor more than just the character.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess any specific question, or do you want me to just tell you about myself? Which I'm willing to do. But if there's specific things you guys want to know, I'm also willing to answer any questions. Obviously,
There was something I actually thought about. So our podcast started April 1st, 2019, and you started on General Hospital a few weeks later. I think he was our first recast when we started.
Oh,
Since we started
that was
yeah.
October 2019. So that's wild. That's right around there. Yeah.
So you might have been the first character that was a recast after we started our show.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Now it's there's a couple, right?
Oh yeah.
There's Jordan,
Mhm.
Spencer, obviously. Anybody else?
You worked with Nikolas Bechtel, right? But not a lot.
I worked with one time.
hmm
And then, yeah, the next thing I know, it was with Nicholas Chavez. And the first Nicholas, like I said, I didn't really work with him. I didn't really get to know him, but me and Nicholas Chavez have become really good friends, which is wild because I think I'm a little bit young for my age, and I think he's a little bit mature for his age. And so really mature for his age, honestly. I mean, I would never guess that he's 22 or 23. He just carries himself and is just very communicative. And so we've really, really clicked, and we actually hang out a lot off of set. So I felt bad because I met the other Nicholas, but you know, I'm really, really tight with Nicholas Chavez, and I've even been recast a couple of times because, you know, of circumstances by a guy named Adam Huss, who I actually met recently too.
Oh,
yeah, because I got COVID, and so they recast me for a second, and a super, super sweet guy as well. I think the recast game is a tough game, and it really only exists for me. This is the first time I've ever, unless like I've been on or had friends that were on TV shows and they shoot the pilot, which is the first episode of the TV show, and then they'll recast it for the series just because it didn't work out. And but the way that General Hospital does it, that's just a wild world, which I guess comes when you have a show that's been on for 63 years. I mean, it's just the show must go on. It's very much like, I guess, live theater, and you have understudies, you know?
yeah. I think there's definitely been times where they have killed characters and not recast them, and that's just a whole thing. But
Brando,
especially,
right? I mean, that happened recently with Brando.
yeah,
I was really bummed about that, but
that was not. Yeah, we weren't happy with that one. But like Edward Quartermain, when he passed away in real life, the character passed away.
Oh, that's
when
nice.
Lila Quartermain passed away in real life, the character passed away. But then there's a nurse. So do you know Nurse Amy now?
Yes.
She is supposed to kind of mirror another Nurse Amy. Oh, she actually would have been your aunt. She would have been Nicholas's aunt.
Really?
Because Laura's sister, Amy
my gosh,
Vining, she was like the little gossipy nurse, whatever. And then she wasn't on the show for a long time. Well, the actress passed away in real life, and they never did anything with the character on the show because she had been off screen for so long, I guess. They just never. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that makes sense. They just were like, well, we like that vibe in the show, so let's just throw in something else. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's good that they gave her her name too.
Yeah. I'm very curious. I feel like there's so much going on with GH right now and different storylines. And I feel like personally in the last 3 years that I've been here, I think this is the most exciting time that I've seen in 3 years, where there's just so many things boiling and cooking, what's going to happen. And it seems like there's a lot of change right now. And so I'm curious to see what happens, you know, like, what are they going to do with Britt, and what are they going to do with a lot of these different storylines? And it's kind of, I'm really enjoying, like, it seems like there's the younger people are kind of getting a little bit more involved right now, which is awesome. But yeah, I think it's an exciting time. I'm curious to see what happens. Nikolas, I swear, is just Nikolas Cassanon. He's just getting in such hot water. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens.
And we don't do spoilers, so don't worry. We're not going to ask anything because we don't like spoilers. I hate seeing them on social media.
Yeah, I would never talk about it either. And honestly, I don't know that much because we're not that far ahead of you guys. Mm-hmm. We obviously are a little bit, but not that much. But I'm very curious to see what's going on.
That means I'm going to be frustrated. I love to yell at you through the TV because and the character just makes such dumb mistakes. And I'm like, come on. Like, how did you not think this through? How is it okay to sleep with your son's girlfriend? What are you doing?
Oh my gosh. It really is it's a really fun challenge because there's so many times that happens, but it used to stress me out. First 2 years, like when I drugged Ava and I pretended like I was haunting her. Like, who would do this? Like, this is so unnecessarily evil, you know? Mm-hmm. And next level, like to pretend that I don't know. But I'm starting to oddly enjoy it because honestly, Maura West helped me out with this a lot. She was like, it's just acting. She's like, it's just soap opera. Just enjoy it. And Avery, who plays Esme, also helped me because she was the same way. She was like, I just enjoy it. She really enjoys it. And I feel like you might as well. It is a soap opera. And I think I got that reaction a lot. A lot of people tell me they scream at their TV when Nikolas Cassadine is there. And I think I never got into horror films, but my daughter really got into them. And so I started watching them a little bit. And I started to realize it's not about always scaring yourself and freaking yourself out. It's just fun to have the kind of like, you jump or it's like a roller coaster ride. And I think one of my favorite things about Nikolas Cassadine, which I've learned, is it makes it more fun. You need somebody that's going to sleep with their son's girlfriend because it just creates this insane ripple effect on everybody's lives. And now Spencer has these incredible scenes to process and deal with all of this horrible traumatic stuff. I'm sure, we'll see what happens when Laura finds out. It'll be interesting,
Yeah, she does not know yet. That's where we kind of ended, where Spencer said,
"Ask my dad."
Talk to my dad.
Yeah.
So what was it like? So it was a couple months later, but I believe it was the first scene that you had with Jeannie Francis, who is icon,
right?
And she slaps you. What was that like? As like,
it was very thrilling because a soap opera is you get to do so. So it was all Jax. It was me and Jax. We were locked up, and it was the first time that I've been put in a position where I had to really stretch as far as a character because you're doing things that are not as realistic. You know what I mean? Like plotting revenge in his house and all of these things and trying like, it's just hyper real. And so the night that I got that script, I hadn't really met anybody because it was just me and Ingo all for, I want to say a month. And, finally we had this wedding scene and, it's just pages of monologues. And I was like in my head, really excited because again, this isn't something that really happens. And I couldn't even tell you another movie where a guy kicks open a door and starts screaming at the guy getting married. Like I've seen in romantic comedies, maybe somebody says, I object, but it's just such an epic, dramatic moment that I was both very terrified and nervous and excited. And getting slapped by Jeannie, I can't remember if she really slapped me or not, but I guess either way, my adrenaline was so pumped that if she did really slap me, I don't remember that. But it was exciting, man. It was a ride. At the end of the day, you still have a set full of 20 actors all staring at you that you haven't really met and you kind of know, and you're a little bit nervous in front of. And so I find that it was just focusing on, as soon as they say action, it's just really focusing on the 3 years that I had spent shot and away from my kid, and just bent on revenge and ruining Valentine's life. And so once we started rolling, I don't think I wasn't really thinking much about the incredible moment that this was, that I'm with this legend and icon, and I'm carrying Maura West, who at the time I didn't realize was also a legend and an icon, because I didn't watch Daytime before. And I really got gifted a lot in my first year, because it was like everybody I was working with were these very seasoned veteran actors who were just incredible, and it was definitely one of the most exciting moments probably in my career, kicking a door open, carrying Maura West. Cause even that, I was nervous about it. I was like, well, what if
you drop her?
Kick and I drop her and I can't, but she is one of the lightest people I've ever held. And I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. And it all worked out. But, yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. And now there's like a different thing going on, because I'm working a lot with Avery and Nikolas Chavez, and these guys are brand new like me. And so there's kind of a fun discovering thing for us where we're all kind of figuring it out. So I don't know. I enjoy the whole process, but those early days were very exciting and kind of intimidating, honestly, because you are working with these people who've been doing it for 30 years. I mean, Jeannie, I think she just celebrated her 45th anniversary. Like that's a long time. But all of that said, everybody's super sweet and so talented that it just kind of locks you in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next question. Did she actually really hit you? But that's okay. I
feel like she did. I've been like Nicholas Castellan's been slapped a lot, especially the first year. Like it was Elizabeth, Maura, everybody was slapping me. And some actresses don't want to really slap you, and some actresses do. And I feel like she slapped me. I don't remember. I really don't remember.
Yeah.
So it mustn't have been painful if she really did, and maybe she didn't, and that's why I don't remember.
So it sounds like they gave you a lot of background about the character, or did they just tell you, by the way, you were shot 3 years ago. You never told your son that you were actually alive. The reason you were shot is because of Valentine. Or did you know, like, Nikolas's story?
So they gave me, I was going to see if I have it, but it's basically, it's almost a book. It's probably, 30 pages. And it's just character descriptions, relationships. One of the things that really is a credit to Tyler Christopher, who is such a great, amazing actor. But he created this character that was involved in so many different people's lives. And so I had to literally study this thing and try to find out like where I was in all of it. And even to this day, there will be moments where I'll work with somebody like, Laura Wright. And I'll just be like, hey, did we ever hook up like Nikolas? Like, no, we never did. And I'm like, okay, great. But, cause you just don't know,
You'd be surprised at how many Nikolas did. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
But also a lot of people from Nikolas's past are dead.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Like pretty much with the exception of Liz, or just gone. Like Liz is definitely the longest.
Who are some of the dead people? I'm curious.
Oh, Emily Quartermain.
I know about that one. I love that line.
Trina's aunt and you were in love. I'm sorry, I'm not saying like you, but
no, I know exactly what you mean.
Your character.
Who was her aunt?
Yeah, they were absolutely in love.
Is her aunt still on the show? No.
Nope.
Gia, they refer to her here and there. Taggart has talked about her here and there when he's talking.
But she's an attorney. She should have come back and been Trina's attorney.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but she didn't.
Okay.
She's actually Donnie Wahlberg's partner on Blue Bloods.
Oh, wow.
Is the actress who played the first one. She was also recast at some point, but she's the original. Marissa Ramirez, I think is her name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Who else?
Stefan, okay, so he's got an uncle and a dad, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his uncle is Stefan, is that right?
He's dead.
He died. How did he die?
Did he fall from the parapet?
Did he really?
At some point, but I'm not sure that that's what killed him. They love to push people off that parapet.
You kind of know if you're going near that parapet, you're either going to kiss somebody or you're probably going to get thrown off a parapet.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then, because then Stefan was with Catherine Bell, and Catherine Bell's family is who raised Cody, who is actually supposed to be Mac's son.
Wow. Catherine Bell.
Dominique.
Is that the actress's name?
Catherine Bell was the character. That was
okay.
Mary Beth Evans.
There's a girl named Catherine Bell who's an actress.
Oh.
Yeah. No, Mary Beth Evans played the character, Catherine Bell. And then when Cody's last name is Bell.
Good.
So part of what we do is the Port Charles 411, which is actually what this interview is going to be released on Thursdays. We either do interviews, we do fan spotlights where we talk to other fans, or we do character or storyline backgrounds. Nice. When Cody just came to the show, his wife or his mom is supposed to be Dominique. So we did an entire background on Dominique. Dominique was Scott's wife. So Laura's ex-husband's wife. Next wife. Apparently, when she was in a mental health facility, or it was Shadowbrook, but it's now Shadybrook. We don't know when they changed that name. We sound bonkers, we know.
No, it's great. I love this because I've read a lot about it, but it's always good to get a little bit more information.
So apparently in the 3 months that she was there, she had Cody. And now it's a question of, was Mac the dad, or because she had a thing with Mac, even though she was married to Leopold. And apparently Leopold hid Cody from her and had him raised by the Bell family. And the Bell family is who was the housekeeper and like the staff for Dominique's family. But then Catherine came to town saying that she was Dominique's sister, but she actually wanted her fortune, but she's not her sister. And then at some point she fell in love with Stefan.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
And she was with Nikolas too.
She was with Nikolas too, actually. Yeah, that's right.
You have a thing of sleeping with your father's girlfriends and your sons.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a time when Catherine thought that she was pregnant and didn't know if it was Nikolas's or Stefan's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. What happened? Did the baby happen or not?
No, I think she was faking. Or did she miscarry?
I think she miscarried.
And they didn't know whose it was.
Okay, fair enough.
When they had you hook up with Esme, did you know they were going to then make her pregnant, or did you get that script later and be like, seriously, what is going on?
No idea. Okay. Other than the internet was like, oh, great, she's going to be pregnant. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. And I was like, I guess that is an interesting choice. Cause that's the thing that you start to realize is that, well, what's the more interesting thing to happen dramatically? It's far more interesting if she does get pregnant. So when people said that on the internet, I was like, that's actually a great idea. And then of course, cut to she is pregnant. And then even that, it's like, well, what's more interesting for him to kind of forgive and forget, or to lock her in a tower, you know? So he locks her.
Loved that.
But no, had no idea. I thought it was just going to be a fling to stir things up, because it also felt very random. It was like, I think me and Ava were it felt like we were starting to kind of get back together. And then all of a sudden this storyline of like me sleeping with Esme. So I don't know exactly how that came up or how that happened, but I think, the fact that it did really forwarded a lot of storyline. So yeah.
It was obvious she was hitting on Nikolas for a while, but then Nikolas was like, I know what she's doing. Obviously, I'm not going with it. And then suddenly one day you're like, you know what? I'm half a bourbon in. Let's go.
It's so true. Because the whole time I was like, I was thinking that Nikolas was going to be the one to bust it and to discover that she was who she was and all of these things. And that happens a lot. It happens a lot. And I think it's what you guys are talking about when you're yelling at the screen, because Nikolas does tend to make a lot of mistakes. And, I guess part of me thinks that he's really not a bad guy. I think even though he does these bad things and he tries to live this dark world, I don't think he's intrinsically bad. And I think when people that aren't bad do bad things, they try to like mess themselves up or get caught because they actually want somebody to stop them. They don't want to go through it with it, even if it's subconscious. And I think, at least right now, that's what I've been playing with, because I do tend to make a lot of mistakes. And I think it's because ultimately I don't know how successful I want to be. And it's a good thing. Like if I would have been successful with Cassandra Pierce, I would have killed her and even hated her. I mean, I'm pretty sure I shot her in the head, right?
You had her shot in the head. You did not do it.
Okay. And somehow she survived. And now, if I really was a cold-blooded murderer, the smart thing to do would be like, we gotta tie off that loose end. And I would say, okay, let's get that done. But he doesn't. And I think that's it's a series of that. It's a lot of like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And then somehow it fails, and he just gets deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah. And I like that you're putting your own spin on him too, because I think that's sometimes the hardest thing with a recast is when they come in trying to be the previous. And it's like, no, for us, I mean, there's always a transition. Where he had been gone for a few years, it was a little bit easier.
Sure.
And I think that it helped, at least for me, that like you and Mara do have amazing chemistry because she and Tyler did too. And so I think that was going to be the hard thing was if you didn't. Because I think when he first came back, we're like, yes, they're finally going to get Ava and Nikolas together. And then it's like, oh, what if it doesn't work?
Right. Yeah.
But you guys do. It's great.
Thank you. Yeah. I love working with her. She's amazing. And I'd only, because I tried to find out what their story was. And the only episode I could find of Nikolas and Maura was they were on, or Nikolas and Ava, they were on a plane. And he was getting out of Port Charles because I think he was just in too much trouble. He had done a bunch of things. Mm-hmm. And I loved the scene, but that's all I had seen. Had they done a lot together before Tyler left?
Not real. It was when they were locked in the room, right?
Right.
They
were just starting to develop that relationship. And that was whenever Nikolas died and why Spencer blamed Ava for all of that. And so, yeah, it was just always that what if, like if he wouldn't have died, then where would we be? So having you come back and give us that was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, I guess in a way I kind of lucked out because I think, for example, if it was in a moment where Elizabeth and Nikolas were really hot and they had this history and then they recast, I think that would have been really tough to step into that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think I was fortunate enough that it was kind of a relatively new relationship. Mm-hmm. And so there just wasn't, there wasn't a ton of stuff that I had to kind of like play catch up on. And I could just,
no,
it was almost them falling in love. Really, the first year, I feel like it was just us being horrible to each other, but also falling in love,
In a really weird way. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I mean, she stabs you, and that's great.
Nothing turns you on like getting stabbed.
No, man, that's, there's nothing like getting stabbed in your stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there ever anything that they give you? Like, obviously, you don't want to question the writers, but we were talking about this whenever we were doing the weekly recap, that you just look at it and you're like, this is so unbelievable. Like Windermere's security. Whenever you discovered Esme had escaped, you shut down the launch. Somehow she still made it to the mainland. And we're like, where's the ring cameras? Like, how come you haven't seen 100%. Where she's at?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I would say it yes. Yeah. I mean, when I had to face stab Spencer, when I had to there were so many things where I was like, I can't, I was talking about how much I love I can't do that, and now, cause I'm realizing this is his fate. Like this is just Nikolas Kassanan. Like he's got this island with a full staff and security. And people are always breaking in, like before it was Spencer and Esme were breaking in and setting up the pranks. And I think you kind of gotta it reminds me of Inspector Gadget, which was a cartoon that I watched when I was a kid. And there was this guy named Dr. Claw or something like that.
It was
And the
Dr.
villains
Fox.
were always messing up, right? They would basically, they would carry out the entire plan. And then right before he kills Gadget, some stupid mistake happens. And I realized you got to have that. Otherwise, if he succeeded fully or if he failed fully, the story would be over.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So for a soap opera, I feel like it's kind of just got to always constantly be this thing that hopefully doesn't get boring. And I think they do an incredible job at switching up the storyline so that it stays interesting. And even though people were predicting that Esme was going to be pregnant, when we all found out she was pregnant, I still think there was a very it was very satisfying for the audience. And I think even for the cast. So I really trust the writers at this point, and I really admire our writers because, there will be moments that get uncomfortable because you're like, I don't fully understand how to do this. But ultimately once you see the bigger picture, you're like, that was genius. Mm-hmm. And even sleeping with Esme, which was arguably one of my least favorite things because it was like my son's girlfriend and Maura and blah, blah, my Ava, I got to say locking her up in the tower is probably my favorite thing that I've done. It's just, there's something about it that's so funny and fun to me. Mm-hmm. But I'm also, and I think part of it is we're not playing it real. We're not playing it like there's like kind of a tongue-in-cheek funness to it that reminds me of like Taming of the Shrew or just, I don't know. So I don't question it anymore. I used to, and now I just say, I'm sure these guys know what they're doing. And I've really found that my job is just to take whatever they give me and to hopefully do it justice. And then ideally, if I'm inspired enough to actually make everything better and work, because their job is insane, the amount that they have to write a year. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a very collaborative process where you trust your team and you say, okay, good. This is what we're doing. Great. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'll work on this and try to figure that out and make it believable and real. So
that's kind of cool to hear too, that they don't let you know what because I'm sure that in the room they have the long play, like the long vision, but they don't even tell you, just hang in there. Don't worry. It's going to make sense in a little bit. In the meantime, you're just like, all right, what am I doing now?
100%. Yeah. And it's kind of better because if I knew 3 years ago that I was going to sleep with my son's girlfriend, I might have played that relationship differently.
Yeah.
But I think it's better that he genuinely loves his son so much and that his son is so important to him, but he couldn't control his sexual urge in a moment of weakness. And because if you didn't care about the son as much, that might have all made more sense, but it would have been less interesting, I think. Mm-hmm. And so it is fun in that way. And, it's like I think like The Hook, for example, for a very long time, nobody knew who The Hook was. And it was so fun because you would come to set and you'd be like, is he the Hook? Is she the Hook? Who's the Hook? Like we didn't know. And it creates an added tension on set because you don't know.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of suspicious of everybody. And it could even be you. Like, I didn't know if it was Nikolas. I didn't know so it was fun. I thought it was I feel like the writers do a great job at creating this kind of, unraveling story. And you, even the actors, I think are excited to find out how it's going to resolve.
I was going to say, I'm like, we do not know yet for sure who. Yeah. I think even our theories have changed now.
Yeah. Every week. We're like, wait,
Nikolas has never been the Hook.
So you never thought it was Nikolas?
No.
Who do you guys think it is now?
We think there's two people working together.
Okay. Who do you think?
Rory. And can't figure out, I can't stick on who he's working with, but I think Rory's one of them.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading online a lot. That's what people think. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Originally we thought Rory and Esme, and then today you just mentioned Maurice's son. I can't remember the character's name, but he's like real creepy whenever he's dealing with Jocelyn, and so we were thinking maybe it was him.
Maurice's son?
Yeah. Maurice's son plays, I don't know his
Oh, in
name.
real life, Joshua. Yes.
Yes.
Joshua. Yeah,
Yes.
Joshua. But
I
his
got
character, we can't remember. I think it's Adam, but I feel like that might be
Yes, I
totally
think
wrong.
you're right. I think it is Adam.
Okay.
Oh,
Might
okay.
be right.
Well, there you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, nice.
But there was just something about it. But I think now it's just kind of he's here, so why not? Let's just say that he's the hook, and here's why.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
this isn't the first time that we've had crazy serial killers before. There was the text message killer, there was the virus.
Mm-hmm. There was Ryan last year with cutting people's heads off.
Brother?
Yep. What was that?
Was the virus Jax's brother? Was that the?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yep.
I like that storyline. I watched some of that. Yeah, I'm really impressed with what General Hospital does with the resources they have. It's pretty. They really tackle some big ideas and fun things, and I think the hook it's a fun game. Like people can talk about who do you think it is, and
we love whodunits.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whodunit.
Mm-hmm. Well, we look forward to finding out who it is eventually.
Yeah, honestly, me too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really genuinely don't know.
We've talked a lot about the show. We normally honestly don't talk this much about the show with someone. It's also fun because we've been able to explain some things to you too. So do you have any other questions about the show?
I'm a fan of the show, honestly. Like I like watching the show. And it's fun. So the guy that plays Cody, he was the one that actually said, like, so they're not all of the actors watch the show, but there's a handful of them that do. And I think that's cool because it's like, why wouldn't you support the show that you're on? And the guy that plays Cody had a great point, and he was like, I like becoming a fan of the show I'm on. Because then it's fun. You get to see people that you've watched on TV. And I really dug that viewpoint. And so I've kind of adopted that, and I've become a fan of the show. So I'm really curious. And the fact that it's changed, I love going back and I was watching Tristan and who plays Luke? What's his name? Tony Geary.
Anthony Geary.
Yes, Anthony Geary.
Yes.
And him, Emma Sams, and Demi Moore and Tristan Rogers in a scene together. And it was it was so fun. It's a fun show because it's got so much history, and you can go back and there's these different chapters of the show, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the show. So
when you're watching the old episodes, do you have to go on YouTube like we do, or is there like an archive that you can watch at work?
Fortunately, yeah. I basically Google it. I just Google it, and then whatever pops up. Yeah, I don't know how they could do that, but they almost should. I don't know how you sell 63 years of television. And
we would buy it.
So Disney Plus, because there's other Bold and the Beautiful, all of the seasons except for like 5 are on whichever platform it is, whichever streaming platform. So and they're 50 something years.
Wow. I would love that because I really enjoy, I would 100% start from episode 1 and just watch all the way through. I mean, I don't know, 15,000 episodes that's a lot. So maybe not every episode, but I'd probably watch, a handful from the beginning and then just moving on up. Like recently I watched Jeannie Francis and Luke when he rapes her, and because this was everybody I've told that when I say I'm on General Hospital, they say, oh, Luke and Laura. And so I was like, I got to see this. Why was this? I mean, Elizabeth Taylor asked General Hospital to be on the show because,
Yep. That's how we got Helena. I mean, and then you would not be here if that did not happen.
That's right. So I was like, I want to see this history. And it was incredible. I mean, it was really cool to watch these guys, especially knowing Jeannie now, who's beautiful now, but also when she was, in those early days is just like stunning. And I would watch if there was a platform, and I would have watched when I got the job, but I found it really hard to find episodes. So it was just Google. And a lot of times, there was this thing on YouTube that existed, but I think the account got taken down because it doesn't exist anymore. So, now it's kind of just where I can find it, wherever it's at.
Yeah. There's a lot. So whenever we do our research, so this is kind of why we're asking, because we've been told that sometimes the writers do listen to podcasts.
Oh, wow.
And there have definitely been, there was a few things we were joking about that wound up becoming
Really?
dialogue in the show. And I mean,
we're just going to take credit.
we're just going to say that. But so there's a book called The Scrapbook, and it's from the 60s through the 90s, like 63 to 93, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then Lucy Coe wrote a book, The Travel Guide to Port Charles.
Oh, wow.
So we have those, but there's sometimes you can find people, and we talk about it all the time. How do they know to save these VHS tapes and then get them transferred to somehow now be digital on YouTube? But we just did The Cartel because out of nowhere, Cesar Faison's being mentioned and Leopold Taub's being mentioned. Neither of us had any idea how deep that story went. We thought it was just Cesar and Leopold did something for a minute. It was 58 videos.
Wow.
And it was the entire cast was involved.
Oh my God.
So it started with like Robert and Anna were getting married and then how they were involved. It was almost kind of like how they're bringing everyone into this hook because it started off kind of separate. And then by the end, everyone was together and it was just, I did not watch all 58 videos. I had to kind of skim a lot of them.
Yeah.
But then also a lot of it, you go back and okay, so we do give them grief sometimes on continuity because, there's been some pretty big significant things that you're just like,
yeah.
But then sometimes you'll be watching these old videos and you find this gem that they have just kept and it's still relevant today. Oh, what was the one that just came out with The Cartel that I can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
But like that was a really, really good series. So there's some people that put series together on YouTube, but yeah, you're right. It's difficult to find.
Yeah, we need all the episodes.
We do. We need a 30-page book of Nikolas.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
We need that for all the storylines, but it's fun to do the research too. So
yeah, I think it's funny because I was talking to Tristan and we did an event recently and he was like, because I guess he killed Victor at one point.
Victor has died twice.
Okay, so he was like, for him as a character, it's kind of interesting because you'll kill somebody, and then they come back, and it's a little tricky as an actor. But I think for the most part, I think that's just the nature of the game, for an actor. You're just like, okay, good. Imagine this. Okay, what if this happened? Okay, this is the circumstance now, and go. You just kind of do it, and you go along for the ride. And I'm trying to think if I don't know if I've run into too many things, but I've definitely read online, like when some sort of continuity is out of place, it's amazing because people have been watching forever. And so they know, they're like, that's like, it'd be like my kid telling me that when she was 8, something else happened. And I'd be like, no, that's not what happened. I was there,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Which is
the
what
last time that Victor died. Oh, what was that?
I was just going to say, it's what I love about it is at a certain point, you're almost real time. Like when I'm talking about something that happened with me and Ava, I was there and we did that. And I remember that scene. And so I imagine like Maurice or Jeannie, it's like, that's a gift, I think, as an actor is when you're remembering something, you're remembering it. Like you filmed it and you did that scene, it's pretty special.
That's what we just talked about with, because Jeannie and Robert had a scene together and it was just, they've been together for over 40 years.
It's amazing.
And that's, so, Robert's died a few times too.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep. He's died at least twice. Him becoming an attorney never happened on scene. And that was something that people were like, and when did that happen? And I think that I read that he made the choice. Well, it happened off screen. It happened one of the times that everyone thought he was dead. He went to college, he went to law school, It is fun. It's fun to watch the old stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So since you've started watching, what is your favorite storyline that doesn't have anything to do with you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Look, I mean, I'm really curious to see this whole like Sonny, Nina, Drew Carly, right? Because people, which is kind of beautiful, people want Sonny and Carly back together because they're married and you know what I mean? I personally really like seeing Carly and Drew work together, and I like seeing Nina and Sonny work together. So I'm just very interested in that and to see how that resolves. I mean, especially now that he's been alienated from his family and he's kind of on an island. How does this, I'm curious to see, how does it resolve? Like, what's the peace look like? Because Jocelyn isn't his biological daughter, you know?
Right.
And so is this it? But now I love how they tied Dex in. Jocelyn and Sonny and him, because now, well, they're going to be tied together possibly in a different way. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's hard to do ones that aren't involved with me because the Cassinines are kind of involved in a lot of different stuff. But I guess Sonny's stuff. I like watching Maurice a lot as an actor, and he's my friend. And we talk about it all the time. Like, we literally go to lunch and we talk about it. We talk about storylines. We talk about upcoming scenes and how you're going to address this issue and how do you do that? Because he's been doing it for 30 years. So he is a master at this stuff. Like, he really is a master at acting. And so I'm constantly picking his brain at like when Esme happened, I was like, dude, I got to sleep with Esme, my son's girlfriend. And he was like, oh yeah, I've done that. Cause I guess and so he was like, here's the thing. He was like, you know, and he gave me like strategies on how to do it. And then when it resolves, like, he's just been through so many storylines and he's so incredibly generous. So then as a result, because we talk about it so much, I'm very fascinated to watch how he navigates his situation, where a lot of people are very anti Nina and Sonny. But I get it because she's done these horrible things in the past. But his argument is that there's love there. There's this genuine love between them. And somebody made this really cool montage online of them smiling and eating ice cream together and smiling and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I was like, it's interesting because I'm seeing what he's talking about. Like, I get it if you're the audience and you're watching it, but then when you see it from almost Sonny's point of view, and you're a guy who's in love and his wife is moving on with this. It's a really fun way to watch, because it's almost like you're in a different dimension, because you know the backstory, you know the actors' thoughts about the story. And then, so when you watch it, you're watching kind of all of these things in play. And so I guess it'll probably be Sonny. I think I just love watching the guy work, you know?
Do you know his whole story, like his background?
Sonny's background? Yes. Cause it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's pretty incredible. He told me, cause I told him, I was like, God, I'm doing all these bad things and blah, 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 blah. And so that was another thing that he would like tell me about, because he started out as such a hated character. But then when he showed me the scenes, I was like, wow, this is interesting, because if you were to mute the scenes, because there was specifically a scene where he's trying to convince, was her name Katie?
Karen.
He's trying to convince Karen to become a stripper.
We talked to her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The way he did the scene, I was like, if you muted this, it looks like you're just being very charming and talking to a girl that you're really into. And so I thought it was fascinating, because it's obviously one thing if you're given a role that is very likable and nice and does good things. It's a whole different, which is, I think, challenging as well, because you got to really fight being boring, you know, and fight being uninteresting, if that's the hand you're given. But I also think there's a very big challenge to what Sonny and Ava and Nikolas as well have, which is you skirt this line of really dark and so yeah.
So when he said that he had slept, like that he understood the sleeping with the daughter thing. So we've never talked to Maurice.
Okay. He's the best.
Because I watch you guys on Instagram all the time, and that's actually like another question that I have, because you guys are fun.
Thanks.
Do you know about him and Sam?
Yes.
Okay. So
And
he's aware of all that.
So now it's different. His son is sleeping with his ex-baby mama.
Totally. Totally. It's hilarious. I mean, it's so funny. And I remember watching, and I've stole this joke from Tyler Christopher. He was on a talk show. I can't remember who it was, but he was like, yeah, there's a joke that, oh, you got a storyline with Sonny. Congratulations. You're pregnant. Yeah, exactly. Like that. And I thought it was hilarious because he does have so many babies. But part of that's a testament to his acting. I mean, he can just have chemistry with any woman you put in front of him.
Yeah. Well, so he had a relationship with Emily too.
Unbelievable.
That was awkward. That was a weird one.
He also had a relationship with Ava.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, at Michael's biological dad's grave.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's told me the script, which is, it's fun. It's really fun. I really enjoy Maurice a lot. It's fun to have a fun job, but then it's also fun to work with fun people. And then on top of that, he's my neighbor. And so I'll call him all the time and be like, yo, you want to grab some food? Mm-hmm. And then we'll talk about the show. We'll talk about past things in the show and future things. It's just, I really enjoy it.
Because on Instagram, you haven't been super active for very long. Did a little mini stalker. Because, and I know it's like all algorithms and everything, but at one point I was like, you're posting almost every day. Like you have these great videos and everything. And I was like, have I been missing this for years? And it really only started most of the time like this year. What made you go from posting like maybe a dozen times a year to now? I mean, you and Maurice are, and oh my gosh, whenever you are jealous of all the other actors coming into his room, and then you pull Ken in and then Cynthia's hiding in the closet and they're great. And I think it's great to see also, I know that there's been a lot of difficulty with accepting a recast, as we've discussed. I think that it's also maybe helped people remember that you're not your character. And you're so funny, and Nikolas does not get to be funny.
No, I know, not at all. And it's a great question. So basically, I always had this kind of love-hate with Instagram, and I've deleted it. My account permanently deleted it multiple times. And so when I got on the show, I only had 1,000 followers because I'd recently deleted it and I just got back on. I was like, because I'm going to be starting this new show, I'll probably have it. And then I had it and it was kind of just like sitting there, mm-hmm. And I would do this thing where I'd fall in love with the girl and then I would write these songs and I'd post these songs and then I'd be like, that was so stupid. And then I'd delete it. And then I would like post something else and then I would delete it. And then finally, so I guess I just never really knew what the purpose of it was. And then Maurice, we were talking about all of these things of like, dude, I'm doing such bad things. And he was like, you got to use social media. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, he's like, you have, because people see you every day doing these bad things. You have to remind them that exactly what you just said, that that's not who you are. And the truth is, I've always been into filmmaking. Like before I got into General Hospital, me and my other friend named Rob would always make these little funny videos. And even before that, when I was like 17 years old. And so I think part of it was just meeting Maurice, because Maurice is very similar to me in the sense that we're all about just like, hey, I got an idea. What about this literally happened. I was like, dude, what if I come to your room and I'm like, hey, are you ready? And you're like, sure. And you're kind of annoyed with me. And then I dance and then I leave. Now, most people would be like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Reese was like, that's great. And we're just like that. We work really beautifully in that way, because I feel like if we were 8-year-old kids, we would be best friends and we'd be doing the same thing. And part of the reason why that didn't happen before is it's hard to make little movies by yourself. You need more people. And so I do have a guy named Rob that I was doing it with, but he got married and he has a baby and we still see each other, but not as much because he just got busy. And so part of it was just that, like, I found this buddy who loves to create, and then what would happen is I would still feel that compulsion to kind of delete it because it's kind of embarrassing sometimes. Like I would dance and I'd be like, oh, that was a good idea. I'm just going to dance. And then a couple of hours later, you're like, what am I thinking? And then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to literally force myself to do a video every single day. And so that I'm not afraid of posting anymore. And it's like, I think it's important as an artist to be able to express anything. Like if you're being melodramatic or if you're being silly or if you're being goofy. And I was like, I'm going to look at Instagram as a way to just perform, and force myself to do uncomfortable things and grow. And it's been great because at this point, I'll still delete something. Like singing is something that I feel very, I love to do it, but it's not necessarily my forte, I would say. And so those, I'll delete a lot of those, but, that's basically how it happened is I found Maurice and he's as, carefree as I am. I mean, like the Roman thing that we just did recently, it's like, not many actors are going to do that. Not many actors are going to be like, dude, that would be great. Let's do that. And so I guess it's just that lucky event. I think if it was a different set and if Maurice wasn't around, I don't know if I'd be doing it. Now, if I found a guy who is as goofy or playful or however you want to describe it as I am, then I'd probably be doing it. But it's something that you need more than just yourself to kind of do that,
Mm-hmm.
But then it started turning out to this really positive thing where people would be like, I hate your character, but I love you. Yeah. And it was like, wow, this is incredible, So that's kind of how that came about.
So I don't think Nikolas has ever been. So back in the day, Nikolas, it was the second Nikolas. It wasn't even Tyler Christopher. And actually, so here's the thing. When people join the show, like start watching the show, if they've only started watching in the past 3 years, you're Nikolas. Like there is no other Nikolas.
That's a good point.
Well, my aunt had taken a break for years and she sent me, this was my favorite nurses ball. And it was when Nikolas, Lucky, Liz, and I think it was Gia sang Up on the Roof.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's not the original Nikolas. And it just blew her mind because she's like, but that's the only Nikolas that she knew. Cause I think she said the original Nikolas. And I was like, that's not the original Nikolas. This is the original Nikolas. And I don't think Tyler Christopher ever sang, but then that I don't even remember his name. He sang.
I know who you're talking about, and I could have told you 6 months ago, but I don't remember it right now. I think his name's Nick, maybe in real life.
Maybe.
I don't remember, but Colton Scott. I think it's Colton Scott and Nick Bill, I think.
Those sound familiar.
Nick Bill was the guy that was with Ava in like a barn. He only did a couple of episodes, and I think Colton Scott he did a couple of, I don't know how long, but he did more.
Yep.
Shannon loves her Google.
Yeah, Google's amazing, man.
But he sings. So if there hadn't been a recast, that Nikolas would never have performed in the Nurses Ball. But I don't think has your Nikolas ever?
No, I've never sang. I have mixed feelings on it because I feel like if I were going to play like a Johnny Cash, I think I'd be fine in that. Like if it's not really, Johnny Cash, I feel like has a lot of great songs, but I don't necessarily consider his voice incredible. You know what I mean? So I feel like I would do it, and I would try to do it in a fun way. And I think what's fun about the Nurses Ball is nobody's in character, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're just seeing these really wild, unexplainable events where these, like Ava is kind of like a mob boss in her own way, and then she's out there singing Fever, like. But it's fun. So to that degree, I would for sure do it. And I think there could be some romantic things, and I've thought about it. But I don't know if they're going to happen again. I haven't heard of anything this year, and obviously it didn't happen last year. And yeah.
So next year's the 60th anniversary. And Lucy just said that, or Nina said that she confirmed that the nurses' ball was going to be held at the Metro Court next year.
Oh, wow. There you go. Okay.
I would think for the anniversary that they would, because it was gone for about 10 years. They didn't have it. And then it just made a comeback. I think it was for the 50th was the first time that they had it in a long time.
The only one that I've seen was it was like a telethon.
Right.
I thought that was an amazing workaround because that was obviously changed because of COVID. I thought that was a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was really clever. I mean, Frank Valentini, he's like the head honcho. He's a super clever guy. And many people from the cast have talked about how that show would not be on the air if it wasn't for him. He's just a genius. And I thought it was a very clever workaround.
We do have a suggestion for that you need to take back to him. They should run a ticker along the bottom with the 800 number to actually pledge to the cause that you're raising money for. Because everyone,
I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities for them to make money.
And a lot with the, like whatever's in the gift bags. If they sold gift bags to the public that you could order, you would make a ton of money to donate to the charities because GH fans are diehard.
We'll buy anything. Just about. Yeah, because they would have, I mean, obviously they wound up being corporate sponsors. Like there was Oil of Olay and Chobani one year, but then they have the gift shop, we can go buy a mug from Charlie's and stuff like that. But yeah, if they just even if they just said there's 100 bags.
Yeah, this would be gone in a heartbeat.
Great idea.
Because the original Nurses Ball, I think really did in real life also raise money for, the AIDS Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think it's a great idea. 100%.
Yeah, that'd be fun. What else can we talk about?
So I listened to your interview with Maurice and talking about your love of General Hospital and how, it's giving you acting opportunities every day instead of what you've done in the past. If you weren't an actor, what would you be?
Ooh.
There were a couple of options. Like one, I had this fantasy of just moving to Hawaii and being a surfer and just being like a waiter, you know what I mean? Just being in good shape and like falling in love. And that would have been an option. I think maybe a veterinarian. Like that's kind of what I was originally going to school for. But it would have to be something that I felt I had a strong purpose. Like I don't do well I've had many different jobs as an actor going throughout and they're all fun, but I feel like, I like to talk to people. So I like to talk to people or help people. And so I think it would have to be something in that realm. And I guess a vet was appealing to me because, when I was growing up, I had a lot of doctors telling me you don't want to get into this field. It's getting really bad with insurances and you can't even diagnose people with things because of so I kind of steered clear from that. But, so I guess maybe a vet.
Okay.
And specifically horse. I like horses. I think I'd be a horse vet and just in Northern California, there were a lot of, ranches and stuff up there. Yeah.
It'd be like Yellowstone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Are you guys watching that show?
Oh yeah. Tonight's the 2-hour premiere.
Oh my gosh. What an exciting show.
Well, so I read that, so there was 2 pilots that you had done before GH. So, I mean, thankfully they didn't get picked up because if not, who knows what would have happened.
That's right.
But one of them was called False Prophets. And they said that it was a mix of Glengarry Glen Ross meets Desperate Housewives. And that sounds like so interesting.
It was so interesting. I think it would have been so great. The cast was incredible. The writer and creator of the show, she's a genius, and her show is Wednesday on Netflix right now. I think she's also a writer on Friends. I mean, she's so funny and great. Vanessa Williams was a part of it. It was the second time I got to work with her. I'm really bummed that one didn't come up, but it was kind of like I forget the company, but it's like, makeup sales.
Mm-hmm. Drug sales.
Yeah. Where you kind of go door to door and you have these like parties and stuff like that. Yeah. And there's this whole, super competitive world, which I guess is where they were getting the Glengarry Glen Ross, which is fun. I was watching that last night, but, Cells, which I've done a lot of, it just lends to good drama because the stakes are so high. It's like whether or not you're going to eat, or in this case, it was more like, you want that gold plated Mercedes. It was very, very big. And, it was female. It was it was very female driven. So it's these female sales forces. And then I played one of the girls' baby daddies who we're still kind of sleeping together, but, I'm a horrible ex-husband, but I'm a great father. So I was really looking forward to that. And this girl named Shelly Hennig was my wife, and she's like gorgeous, incredibly talented. Right now she's on a Netflix show, and she's actually, I just found out recently, I think from Days of Our Lives. But I don't know I can't remember the character name. But yeah, she was 3 years on a soap. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it didn't go.
It didn't, but I mean, at the same time, but I was just like, I don't know how that didn't get picked up, because that just sounds like a very timely too.
Yeah, I can't remember. I feel like there was something, it was kind of like a perfect storm situation where I think there were some shifts internally at the network. I think it was ABC or something like that. And it just kind of, it kind of fell apart. But I was bummed. I would have loved to have done that. But that said, yeah, I'm very happy in a lot of ways that it didn't happen because of General Hospital. It's been incredible.
So this is like the longest that you've been on regular on a show. Like you're a main character and everything, but you have a lot of where you were like a series regular or just like 1 or 2 episodes, but they're all different genres. Like, is there one that was more fun than the other, or one that you wish had gone longer than it did?
Yeah. So when I was 26, I booked a show called South Beach, and Jennifer Lopez was the executive producer. And it was just amazing because it's shot in Miami, and we were constantly having these cool guest stars, like famous musicians. And it was beautiful. I mean, it was literally a dream situation. I think, ironically, a couple of months before that, General Hospital had offered me a role, and I turned it down. Now, in hindsight, this is so hindsight, Maurice has been so helpful as far as acting goes. And I feel like maybe if I had done General Hospital first, and I don't know what the part is because they don't tell you what the part is.
Oh, I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have no idea who it is. But anyway, what's cool is I would have been able to work with Maurice, and Maurice would have, I think, gave me some tips on acting, which then maybe if I would have gone on to book South Beach would have been more successful, because I think I was a good actor. But, the cool thing about a soap is you really see that it's not just about being good or bad. It's about being interesting. It's about, sometimes it's being charismatic, and there's so many different things than just being like, I can say the lines in a believable way. And at the time, a lot of the acting classes that I'd gone to, that was kind of the push, is just kind of being realistic. And, but that show, I would love to do that show again, because I think it was a really fun show. And I think it could have been awesome, like if it had gone longer. But that was another example of it was the perfect storm. So that show was on a network called UPN, which that year was merging with WB to become the CW. And so, unfortunately, I think if that hadn't happened, I think we probably would have got another year, and I think it would have been pretty good.
Yeah. There's a lot of shows that kind of got kicked out because of that. And then also the writer's strike a few years before that, I think.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Had Pushing Daisies was one of my favorite shows. And because of the writer's strike, it never finished.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They don't give more shows, I think, more of a chance, I do think it takes some time to kind of really find the voice. And I think it's gotten a little bit better, but there was a time that I feel like they were just canceling everything. It was like, everything was like 6, 7 episodes, cancel. It's like, you put a lot of money in this. Why don't you try to grow it,
Yeah. Has to be hard though now with Netflix and, even Hulu has their own little docuseries, miniseries, and now all the different channels are getting their own little spinoffs. Then they're also only creating content for that. I mean, you guys have to keep it interesting to bring us back every single day, 5 days a week for 52. Well, give and take a few, that's no pressure, but
it completely blows me away what they do. Cause it's unlike any show. And, I've probably done maybe 30 episodes of television I would say I'm a working actor and I've been a working actor for a long time. I've probably done maybe 8 episodes of television, where the last 3 years on this show, I've done, I think it's like 280 episodes already, it's incredible what this show does. And it commands the audience that it does as faithfully and loyally as it does. It's amazing. Yeah.
Does your daughter watch the show?
No, she watched it a couple of times, but it just didn't. It's a commitment, as you guys know. I mean, it's a commitment. So no, she doesn't watch it. She's watched a couple of episodes. Some of her school friends have watched it somehow, and she's told them that, which is kind of funny and weird. Like, I guess a friend of hers had some pictures of me posted on her wall before she knew I was her dad.
Oh no. Wow.
Which is
awkward.
Very wild. Yeah.
She's like, is she a teenager yet?
Yeah, she's 13.
So
Jess became a teenager, but I think a lot of that comes from Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2 and 3.
Yeah.
A lot of those young kids, now they're getting a little bit older. And I think that was when you're a kid, you watch a movie 100 times. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we talk to other fans, it's great because some of them have pretty much not missed a day in their entire life. Like, they were born into it and they just grew up watching it. Both of us have taken breaks at various times because, like, we both have kids, and at the time there wasn't DVR, and God forbid your power went out and you had the VCR set up. You weren't going to record it, so you missed it. There's no replays or anything. So, I mean, there's a few years that we've missed and everything, but now with, streaming and everything and going back to YouTube, it's just like, it's a whole different world. But we were probably about that age when we both consistently started watching it, because it's the summer before high school. And then high school, we would get home like just when it started. So that's when it was on at 3 though. So now it's on at 2.
Yeah. Cause she has her shows. I mean, she definitely has the shows that she's into, but, also I think, and this is an interesting shift in television anyway, because I think, what they're finding is younger kids aren't watching TV like they, and so General Hospital and daytime in general, I feel like might have a good shot of just lasting forever because they have such a built-in audience. I mean, there's so many times that I've been at events and they say, oh, I started watching because my mom was watching or my grandma made me watch it. And you know what I mean? So it just kind of keeps getting passed on. So I think in that way, it's got a really good shot at continuing. But right now she's watching Friends, actually. She just started Friends. Yeah. So she's absolutely loving that. And, I don't know what else she's watching because that's the last thing I talked to her about, but, yeah, she'll do some of the kind of like teen stuff. There's some shows on Netflix, I think, that she's watching. I can't remember the names of them, but yeah, not General Hospital.
No.
My mom and dad watch it though. My mom and dad, started watching when I got on, and it's fun to hear them talk about it. And I love it's cool getting feedback,
So what does your mom think of the things that you do?
She really likes the storyline right now.
Yeah.
She thinks she enjoys it because she knows it's a soap opera, and I think, just as far as moms go, they're going to kind of love whatever you do as long as you're in it. So even though I'm doing these crazy, insane things, but what she likes about what's going on right now is people have called me the Dark Prince and all these things. And she's like, I like that we're seeing this right now. She's like, I like that you're being a little bit darker and a little bit edgier with the whole Esme stuff. So she's enjoying that a lot right now.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I can just picture her being like, what were you thinking? Like,
yeah. No, she's like, she's all for it. She's all for it. Yeah.
But they didn't watch beforehand.
What's that? No,
they didn't watch beforehand.
She watched All My Children. I remember watching All My Children with her, Tad and Daisy. But no, she never did General Hospital.
That's funny.
Yeah. She never, I don't know why, but it just never clicked with her.
It happens.
Yeah. I guess people find their one, and hers is All My Children. But it's exciting because Michael Knight is obviously there, and John Lindstrom is married to Katie McCain, who is Daisy. So it's kind of a really wild world that I'm working with these people,
Yeah.
I could talk for days. I got nothing else. You're so easy to talk to. And I love your love for being an actor just comes through so much.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I do love it. I really, really I love it. So I'm glad that it comes across. This was a great interview, though. Thank you guys for taking the time out. And
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate it. It's always great to connect and talk about things and get feedback and hear what you guys think about things. And thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, our thing is we just like our audience to feel like they're just sitting down talking with friends. And so we don't, like, sometimes we'll write down like a couple notes and everything, but it's just more of, I had no intention of talking about the actual show for an hour today, but it was so much fun.
I'm
you're
glad.
a fan. And I think that's fun that you're a fan of the show, because you don't get to see when you're performing what's happening. And then now
that's
you do.
Right. Yeah. Like if you're not in a storyline with someone, you literally won't see them. Like I didn't meet Kelly Monaco until like a year and a half in.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have any storyline, so.
And she's your cousin.
Yeah. So yeah, fun to watch and kind of see what's going on and who's who and all of that stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciated it.
Yeah. Thank you guys. It was so great talking to you.
You too.
Bye.
Okay,
bye. Okay, so I have to admit, I was super, super nervous.
You were so nervous, and you're not usually.
I know.
It's so weird. Shannon texted me last night. It was like, I'm so nervous for tomorrow. And normally she like has her questions set and she's ready. And
I think it's because it was also kind of out of nowhere. Normally, when we do an interview, we have a week or so.
Right.
Notice
there's like back and forth kind of schedule. This just all worked perfect.
This just kind of happened because it escalated quickly to this.
Yeah.
So, but it was great. I didn't think that it was not going to be great, obviously, but
no, you were just nervous, and see, I wasn't. And so now I'm like happy that it went exactly how it was going in my head. Although we did spend more GH time, but I don't feel like it was really about GH. It was his experience in GH. It wasn't like, tell us about this, and this storyline kind of stuff.
Yeah. But we just don't like to be like every other interview where it,
right,
all those things. But to find out that he's a true fan of the show and that he's gone back and watched,
I know,
Maurice, and the fact that he knew about Sonny and Karen.
I was kind of bummed that he didn't tell us there's like a secret archive somewhere that we could go, though. I'm like, wait, come on, tell us. And he's like,
but listen,
nope,
he might go in and be like, hey guys.
I hope so. I hope he does.
You need an archive, or at least help these girls out, because they really are dedicated to, we want the show to be around for a long time. And I'm glad that that's not where that end of that conversation went.
Yeah.
Because it is scary to see.
So many are ending, and GH needs to make it to 100 years.
Well, we're not going to be around for that.
Yeah, we will. There'll be 140.
Oh my goodness, we could be. I'm less likely to be.
No, shut up.
My family dies young.
Don't say that. Oh my gosh.
They do.
Okay.
It's not my fault. It's genetics.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, my
back to Marcus.
Is in her 80s.
Okay.
So that gives me 40
are
more years.
Going to be podcasting grannies.
Yes, I'm looking forward to podcasting about the 100th anniversary.
Okay.
I'm just going to reach out to all these old cast members if you're already dead. Be like, you got to fill in for Shannon. She's not here.
Go back through 43 years of fan spotlights at that time. Yeah, it'll be 44 because we started on the same day. So
that will be a good 44 years.
My goodness
to
gracious.
Celebrate the 100th.
Yeah.
So
I thought he's just super easy to talk to. Like you said, it was just.
He was exactly like he was at the fan.
Yes.
Spotlight meeting. And we didn't get to talk to him that much.
Fantasy,
sorry. We didn't get to talk to him that much directly because he was at the same table as
Lisa Licicero.
Yes. And we were talking all about her wonderful storyline and whatever. So it was nice to see that that's how he is in person also.
Yeah.
So it was just so much fun. He was just, I don't know, like I said, his love of acting. And I've said this before with the Karen storyline, I remember falling in love with not just acting, but General Hospital and thinking that's what I want to do. And that, like, he's living my dream the way that he describes it. And so I'm like, that's so cute. I love he doesn't take it for granted and that he's having fun with it.
Yes. And especially, I really do like seeing him more on social media. And I think that that's really helped too for us to see, like I said, we all know that they're not their characters.
Right.
But especially where his character really isn't that fun.
Right. But I liked he had a personal spin on it because I feel like, I assume most people feel, I know I do, the way that he was talking about it. You post something and then you're like, oh no, should I have put that up? Let me take that back down. And so the fact that he's pushing himself to get used to it and put it out there, like, yeah.
I love that he takes stuff down though.
Yes.
Just because I'm not feeling that. You can take that down now. Bye.
Yes.
So, well, we hope that you enjoyed hearing more about Marcus Coloma, and we really did kind of get like a more behind the scenes ish chat, but that was just
like I said, I think it's my new favorite.
I feel like we say that every single we have a new favorite every time we talk to a cast member, but they're all so different.
And I, as much as I was expecting this interview to go nice, I do not like Nikolas. Like I said, I like to yell at the TV because he is so dumb sometimes.
He admitted it.
And so I think that's why it's my new favorite. Like to really have felt both sides.
It's a big conflict.
He talked about Nikolas as Nikolas, but then he talked about Nikolas as a regular person. And it was like, yes, thank you. I'm glad that you see that this is absurd and not bashing the writers because again, it's a soap. It's supposed to be fun, but that there is that line of, of course we question sometimes like, thank God it's a soap opera because in real life there'd be a ring camera.
Right. And I love the idea that he and Maurice talk about, their neighbors and also that they just get together and have lunch and talk about storyline.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's like a true coworker thing too, though, because you just get together and you're like, so what's going on with you? What's going on with you? But the fact that Maurice is like, yeah, so here's the deal. I used to own a strip club and I tried to get this girl, Karen. I got her hooked on pills. Right. So trust me, I know what it's like to be the most hated guy in Port Charles.
Yes.
So
I want an invite to one of those lunches. That would be amazing.
Well, we'd have to fly out.
That's okay.
You guys can come to Pittsburgh. We will treat you.
We can fly there.
Or that. All right. Join us on Monday as we recap this week's shows.
Have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.